This quote sort of sums up the book The Undoing Project by Michael Lewis for me. In math, you always check your work. In medicine, no. And if you're fallible in algebra, where the answers are clear, how much more fallible must we be in a world where the answers are much less clear? Error isn't necessarily shameful, it's merely human. We all know about the trailblazing work of Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman, both psychologists who changed how we think about how we think. So this book is biographical and anecdotal and one of the greatest love stories that you're going to read. It's not your boring run-of-the-mill happily ever afters, but more of the forget-me-nots, the one that you always refer to in conversations and go, that hurts in a good pain sort of way. Most psychologists and economists have read the classic and joint published papers of both of these scientists, which were collaborations that went down in history. And I loved some of the quotes of this book, such as the definition of the nerd as a person who knows their mind well enough to mistrust it. I really identified with that. Or the one which says that choice creates its own context. This particular one which I liked was, I'm starting to think that psychologists are complete charlatans. I think these are all gems. Another gem is you need to be so careful when there's one simple diagnosis that instantly pops into your mind that beautifully explains everything all at once. That's when you need to stop and check your thinking. Very impressive. So it's an important book, you see. I did not put this book down and pulled quite a few all-nighters reading it. I did not know I could fall in love with a book again. The book is technical without being technical. Michael Lewis has done great justice by portraying the interdependence and synergy between these two scientists, these two great minds. And he's made sure to include their struggle, their dissent, with particular attention to how their ideas developed over the course of their story. The book took me about 20 hours to read. I reread many good parts and I took notes and I did my cross-reference research. I give the book 7 out of 5 stars. I do think the book should be part of additional readings of undergraduate social sciences, medicine, law, business, philosophy, and public policy. It's a very beginner level read, and so that's actually great, especially if you're not a voracious book reader or you're not fond of reading. It kind of makes it much more accessible. And the author, Michael Lewis, is best known for his books which were made into movies, Moneyball and The Big Short. He has an undergraduate degree in art history and a master's in economics. I loved his writing style, but my slight problem with the book was the first chapter. This chapter was entirely dedicated to basketball and the NBA and the use of metrics by the Houston Rockets, all of which I'm completely clueless about. Plus, I tend to like to get into the meat of things directly, and the book is about the story of these two scientists. So this sort of was a bit of a distraction for me. The book was good. The more academic audiences might not really appreciate the popular aspects of the book, but I think kudos to the author for making theories on human decision-making so accessible to a broader, larger audience. In the end, I'd like to quote from the eulogy for Amos Tversky by Daniel Kahneman. It wasn't in the book, but I read it elsewhere and it really touched me. People who make a difference do not die alone. Something dies in everyone who was affected by them. And this book makes sure that we're all made aware of their work. There's a link to the book below if you want to buy it. And if you use that link at no extra cost to you, I get credit from Amazon. If you wish to join our 4 a.m. book club, click on the Facebook link below. Until next time, happy trails to you.